Remija Wahinkpe Numpa Machapi. My Dakota name is Two Arrows. My Christian name is Peter Lenkeek. And I am the staff keeper of the Sacred Eagle staff, the 38+2 staff, and this is my third year.
My Indian name is Charges the Enemy in Sight. My Christian name is Jim Miller. In 2005, I had a dream. Dreams, the three things that, for lack of words, that motivate the Dakota. There's signs, visions, and dreams. In the dream, we believe that's the Creator talking to us. So when I got this dream in 2005, that December, we started the ride. And so to have a dream, you try to fulfill it if you believe that it comes from the Creator. And I believe that this came from the Creator to talk about Minnesota's greatest secret, the hanging of our relatives, the Dakota 38+2. So I carried the staff for the first 4 years, and in 2008 I turned it over to my nephew from Fort Thompson, Crow Creek Band. And our hope and our dream is to pass the staff to every Dakota band, whether it be in Canada or the United States. We wanted to make sure that every band gets to carry the staff, preferably for 4 years. And one of the greatest things, I guess, that came out of this was the documentary that we made in 2008 with Smooth Feather Productions. So even to that, it's like I talked about signs, visions, and dreams. In 2007, I was in Maine to run a sweat for the Indian inmates in Maine. Met this young kid, and I told him, "What do you do?" He said, "I make documentaries." I told him, "You ought to come out to South Dakota and make this documentary for the ride, the Dakota 38+2. Got on the plane, never thought I'd ever see the guy again. This November 2008, he showed up in South Dakota. And that's how the documentary got started.
This ride came through a vision of a man by the name of Jim Miller.
In 2005, when I received this dream, as any recovered alcoholic, I made believe that I didn't get it. I try to put it out of my mind, but it's one of them dreams that bothers you night and day.
In his dream, he seen all these, the 38 basically being hung at the same time, and they were all reaching out, holding each other's arms.
I mean, the cars couldn't even see. The horses were like doing this, like faces, the wind's coming from this way and everybody's going this.
We're going to show up in Mankato at the hanging site on December 26th at 10 a.m., which is the anniversary of them 38 that were hanged.
We don't have to blame the Washichos anymore. We're doing it to ourselves. We're selling drugs. We're killing our own people. And that's what this ride's about, is healing.
It's I have no other words for it. It's beautiful, you know. It's powerful, you know. What is happening here, and it just seems to be snowballing, you know. Like he had talked about, you know, we were riding up out of Flandreau through Sistan, and we were, you know, those homes there, they're non-Indian homes. And there was little kids, had big sheets up that they had made with crayons and marker, and 38 riders, and they were coming up and they were giving us packages of snacks and foods and stuff, you know. So this whole way it's been like that, you know. People coming up here, you know. Today you wouldn't believe how many people were standing outside their homes, you know, waving and, you know, taking pictures and, you know, Merry Christmas, and, you know, we're glad to see you guys, you know, and, you know, just encouraging us, you know. It was awesome.
You know, I just can't believe the love of the people that showed us an outpouring of love along the way. Oh, there's a few of these, you know, but anymore they're right with us, you know. Could you imagine some little blonde kids, white kids, standing along the road outside of their homes, and you ride through these towns saying, "Welcome, Dakota 38," and passing out cookies. Having the mayor of Madison, South Dakota, come out to meet you, and ordering his chief of police to take us through town. And of all places, you know, Mankato, the mayor, give me the keys to the city in December 2008. Give us a proclamation. The mayor of Mankato set this day up for the native people, and he invited us home.
When I was given this staff by Dekshi over here, I promised him that I would carry it for the rest of my life to Mankato on horseback. But when I got home, I saw something different. I saw that staff going to different bands of our people. So I'm going to keep it for 4 years, and then we'll pass it on to another band for another 4 years, so that they'll have that chance to carry that staff and to take care of them 38 plus 2. Next year will be my last year carrying that staff, and it's I have never questioned myself and doubted myself so much in my lifetime, and I even wanted to give that staff up a couple of times. but whenever I felt like that, I would talk to Uncle over here, and he would, I'd call him on the phone or something, and just I wouldn't, I've never said anything to him about that. Just talking with Uncle Jim there would kind of bring me back to what I'm supposed to do. It's tough. It's tough.
We're here to see a dream fulfilled. We don't care about the politics. All we want to do is show the world, hey, this is what happened. We want to make it right. We're not asking an apology from anybody. But we're the first ones to come and say, hey, we forgive. That's all this dream is about. And to bring our people back to the center.
There are 4 or 5 things that drive this ride, and what I feel is the most important of them is the healing of our nations, of our peoples, from the things that happened back then. What happened back then in the 1800s and 1862 especially was that still affects us today. I feel it's that lack of identity, that loss of culture, that loss of tradition, all those things were taken. And that's why we are, a lot of us are in the condition that we are in today. And reconciliation is a huge part of it. Like Dakota said here, we want to say we're sorry. A lot of these towns that we go through and these houses that we ride by, we're not just out there riding horse. We're in ceremony. We're in prayer. We take a break from our prayer and joke and tease each other, on the horse ride, and maybe reach over and pull a bridle off, or just to have fun, to kind of get, just a little break from the seriousness and the importance of the prayer. But when we're riding through these towns and by these houses of non-natives, we're praying for them. We're praying for good health and happiness, and that the Creator will hear their prayers. It's just not about praying for our people, but especially in this area here, there are a lot of people still here that descend from that time, that descend from them settlers that come across here and didn't, and interacted with our people, and things got ugly back then, and they need that healing too. We also pray for the healing of the non-Indians here, because they suffer from that historic trauma also. We also ride to try to unite our people. At one time we were known as the Great Sioux Nation, and I really doubt that we can be called that again, in this day and age. It's that old tactic of the government, divide and conquer. It's like I was telling, in this meeting earlier, I was talking about us and Laura Brule. We're a reservation that's just right across the river from each other, and you think we'd be close, and helping each other. But the state and the federal government, they keep throwing that river in between us, and we bicker and fight over where that line should be on that. The state says it should be here. No, Crow Creek, no, Lower Brule has it here. And they make us fight over things like that. It's just, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. Foremost is to honor them 38 plus 2, to honor our descendants that were taken out of here and displaced to Crow Creek, to a prisoner of war camp. them 38 plus 2, they died because they stood up for our way of life. They were protecting our way of life. They were protecting the women, the children, and the elders, and they died for that. We can't let these things be forgotten. I'm hoping my cousin will come this year. He has a song that was sung on that day. My great grandfather Joseph St. John was 8 years old when that happened. He watched his grandfather get marched up to the gallows, and they asked for a song, and a spiritual leader there sang a song. And he turned to that little 8-year-old boy to his left, and he said, "Don't let anyone forget this." So he jumped on a boat, and he ended up in Crow Creek, and they put him up in Big Bend up there. And every day of his life, he sang that same song, and he told that story. And if no one was there, he went out and he sung that song to the horses, and he told that story to the horses. And that song and that drum got passed down through our family, and it ended up with my brother. You know, in our way, he's my brother, but he's my first cousin. He's the keeper of that song and that drum of that time. And he said, if I don't make it this year, he said, I promise you I'll be there next year.
From 60 million to 800,000, so we were almost exterminated here in America.
Before they put them on the scaffold, that there was a person just before they dropped, they blew this whistle. To this day, I humble myself when I carry this whistle.
In March of this year, I had a dream that I was on a ride, a spiritual ride. And I kept walking up front in my dream, and I seen the American flag, I seen the Canadian flag, and I've seen our own flag to that right. I come to tell you the dream that I had. And I feel that power of each of you in here. We have to make a change for our people.
I thought the documentary was just fantastic. It was very poignant. It was very, I thought, easily interpretable. You know, you knew what was going on.
So when you, at watching that movie, what's your overall feelings about how it was done? What was said, what was left out, what was good, bad?
Well, you know, back home in Canada, nobody seen it yet, and that's what I hope our people will see it in Canada, and that way somebody might want to come down, especially this coming year because it's going to be 150th anniversary.
I cried through almost that whole movie. You know, it just made me feel so bad because these are my people. These are my ancestors. My own great grandfather was listed as number 38 on that in the list. You know, and if there, so that means it's a hair's breadth. You know, as to how close my family wasn't even here, or wouldn't have been here if they had shot that number up to say 40. You know, Maza Adidi would have been hung too. I think this movie can be used in a number of different ways, not only for the youth. I think the youth should see it, but I think it's going to help our Vietnam veterans too, because you know a lot of them have problems, and now we have the soldiers and our GIs coming back from Iraq, from Afghanistan, and different places, you know, where they've been sent off as special units or whatever. But when they see that, you know, I think that with the post-traumatic stress syndrome that they go through, you know, I think it would help to heal them as well. A grief that it's a historical grief that's built into us, and so I think it could really help our kids. But the more I thought about it, the more I was thinking, you know, I really want our Vietnam vets to see it. I want our veterans to see it. And sometimes their hurting is so bad that people can't even hardly stand to be around them. And so they need something traumatic to help trigger and get them back on the right path. And I honestly believe this movie can help them do that. You know, I enjoyed the movie. I just thank you, Mr. Haigo, for your part in it, being the spiritual leader with this. And because I think that it's going to help our Indian people more than a lot of other things have ever helped. And so I just really feel like, you know, the documentary itself is just going to play a key role in helping us to heal. And we need that. And it's because it's not only Dakota people that need to heal, it's everybody needs to heal.
I guess for me, one of the things I'd like to talk about is the atrocities that happen to our people. So I'm mainly doing this to bring awareness to the state of Minnesota and to the nation what actually happened to our people. The atrocities. Then comes the boarding schools.
I was beaten down so much from the boarding schools. When I came out of Vietnam after doing my second tour, I said, shit, I threw this man's uniform away.
Forced relocation. All these things that happened to us. So now it's time to debrief our people and the state of Minnesota and the government.
You look back on the struggles that the natives dealt with throughout the years, and reason why the Minnesota uprising came about was because the government's promise to make payments, rations to the Dakotas, Minnesota, and history, read your history book, it says that them rations payments were late, and when they did get here, they were what little payments it was already owed out because of the way the setup was here, and there was really no chance for the people of Dakotas to Minnesota to dwell in that kind of situation. Well, that's why this uprising came about.
And I'm not a militant, and I'm not a tribal leader, but our people in Canada are the first refugees. And the state of Minnesota still has a law on the books that if you wander outside the reservation, you'll be shot on sight. So who addresses that? He talks about an agreement. Well, as soon as we get that off the books, then we can have an agreement. Well, look at what happened to our people. When you do a public hanging, you're telling people, well, if you mess up, that's what's going to happen to you. It's like telling somebody the boogeyman's going to get you. So you see how it whipped our people into shape. Every treaty that we had was broken. Every one. So now you have us. And we're the first generation that has a voice. I'll repeat that. We're the first generation that has a voice. Grandma and Grandpa, they were in a boarding school. Mom and Dad, they didn't say one word. So now we have a voice. We could speak. We could get on the TV, we can get on the radio, we can get in the newspaper and tell our side of the story. But what we're telling is facts. We're telling the truth. That's what reconciliation is about, is sit down and talking the truth to one another. We have a voice, we could speak them, whereas our ancestors couldn't. They couldn't speak for us. So now, I think our ancestors didn't die in vain. What little we have left, we want to revitalize the culture, the language, the ceremonies. In 1978, we couldn't practice our ceremonies till Jimmy Carter signed that into law. So when is the governor of the great state of Minnesota going to take that law off the books? That's reconciliation. And just like the mayor of this great town here, Mankato, he had the, to stand up there and read that and give us that proclamation. Yeah. That's reconciliation.
I remember I was young, about 10 or 11, and we had some visitors, some family that came, and that subject had come up, that hanging and the displacement of our people to that prisoner of war camp in Crow Creek, and our elders, they would say, shh, don't talk about that. Those are things you don't talk about, because it was so horrible and so unspeakable what happened to our people. They tried to forget it, but they couldn't, they couldn't. And I wish that they were here to take part in this so they can heal from that, because that affected them. She told me, her grandmother, her first memory was on the back of a horse holding on to her mother's fringes, and they were being chased out of Minnesota by the cavalry. And it's things like this that need to be brought out, talked about, and it's all part of the healing process.
We're here, and these young men will ride in tomorrow, and we're going to have a beautiful ceremony. And reconciliation is inviting everybody, whether they're a public figure or the man on the street, to come and join us. And all it is a ceremony. We're talking about prayer for the healing of this Mother Earth. We call this land Mother Earth. And if we don't come together as a people, whether you're German, Scandinavian, or black, or pink, or green, along with the Lakotas and Dakotas, we have to see what life we can make for our children. That's reconciliation.
Every year it's just a little bit more, you know, and I'm very honored to be a part of this.